I do not adjust easily to me, giving up long forgotten battles, pain in my head, deserving of attention. Some seem concerned with controlling, while others wanted to nurture. Helpless, have I become soil, no fault of my own? They were like to say, Loco. I think the PTSD is a big thing because it's like, I can just come over here and say, oh yeah, love, compassion. But PTSD is a really big problem in the veteran community. My escape from reality was beer. I used to get blackout drunk so I can not have panic attacks in nighttime. That was my escape from PTSD. Unhealthy temporary escape, and art being the new venue for that.
Different thing. These are like daisy chains. Their story is based on.
In the wild, you're not gonna have a good time.
When you were talking about like art and not wanting to talk about like the love and compassion, like you'd rather talk about PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, why did you feel like
Because
that?
that's what's real. That's the reality that most people face every day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some days I still face it, but not as much as I used to.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean, that's because I helped myself, and then I had therapy as well, and I had medication. So that's what's helped me. I think the brain is trying to like adjust itself back to being like calm instead of being in a destructive environment. I think the brain's trying to reset in some sort of way.
Having something like this maybe in the background of the military man, and then having something to do like talking about PTSD.
Blue guy.
I was tasked with being the artist that teams up to make an art piece that would kind of depict something that he wanted to express. And so kind of the task that I have is like, how do I talk about PTSD through a piece of art? He wrote down all these notes, and these are just some of the doodles that I've been kind of trying to come up with. This is the general direction of where I'm going. Now it's just a matter of integrating some of the ideas, some of the thoughts that he was talking about with the river flowing and kind of how he gets through some of this PTSD and trauma and some of his thoughts. There's a few quotes that I wanted to have with the chains. I want to have his eyes closed, him in a military uniform, and then in the background having some blackout poetry. That's a big way of how he gets through traumas and kind of makes sense of things like me, you know, making sense of things through art. I have a lot of different notes, kind of inspiration. But yeah, today I'm gonna sit down and do a little bit of art. Try to figure out what this actual piece is gonna look like. We don't have much time. We got about 5 days until I need to have like a digitized version of all this. So we're gonna get to work.
What up, though? Yeah, here's what I got going on. And then on this side, and I don't know if I can use your phone. Okay, dope. I'm gonna try to break it up in the same way. This guy's just gonna stay black and white. And then the rest around is gonna be a bit more colorful. So there's still gonna be like, in between these lines, there's gonna be a little bit of camo, at least for this. He looks like you.
Eyebrows.
Yeah.
What was your transition like coming back home after these deployments? How do you transition from that to civilian life?
It's kind of hard. It's hard to transition. Nobody's there to tell you what to do anymore. You're so used to being told what to do. You're just there alone with your thoughts, and you just marinate in your own emotions. So for some, it's pretty hard. Others adapt more easily than others, but for me personally, it was tough. This poem came to me at the lowest point of my life, and when I was in the psych ward, and it encapsulates how it feels to have PTSD in some sort of in my point of view, what I was dealing with and what I dealt with. It's just a brief look into how it feels.
My name is Enrique Padilla. People call me Rico. I personally have learned a lot through doing art and kind of digging into whatever subject it is, whatever's like heavy on my mind. And my deal is always like coming out of it with a positive conclusion.
That's crazy. That looks sick.
The initial conversation with Jilmar was one of like really trying to understand what he wanted to talk about, kind of what he wanted to share through his experience. He has so many different experiences and he has like a crazy amount of depth to his life. And he decided he wanted to talk about PTSD, which I thought was really cool, really brave of him.
Just because we have PTSD doesn't mean we can't function in society. We still have lots to offer to our common man, even though we suffer from this illness.
And we have the whole basement, basically.
I initially went to the piece of paper. I always go like kind of just sheets of paper, a bunch of different drafts. I don't know how many drafts I had. And I kind of decided on, okay, I wanted closed eyes, but I had a bunch of different eyes, like kind of weird eyes or like open really wide. Like all these things could show PTSD, but it was little details like that. How I wanted the mouth, how I wanted the attire, the hat, you know, different designs like around it. If I was going to do blackout poetry, there's just a lot of elements that I wanted to incorporate into that piece.
Seeing it snowball, starting from the psych ward to this, is just it's astounding. And I feel a little bit happy, surprised mostly, but it's just almost like a bit of baggage was let go. That's what it feels like. He even put my poem, he didn't have to, he put my poem into the painting and integrated it into it. It's amazing. That was cool of him to do that. And he listened to my story and put pieces, like talking about the leaves and the water, how that's amazing, seeing it all in art form.